Hey listeners, you're listening to the Midnight Readers podcast. Grab some tea, a midnight snack, and cuddle up in bed as we dive deep into today's most popular fantasies, sci-fi, and mysteries. We're your hosts. I'm Lily.
I'm Brittany.
And I'm Christy.
This season, we'll be discussing a dark academia bully romance series known for its smutty content and often billed as a Harry Potter for adults. That's right, grab your Stardust, we're headed to Solaria.
Welcome to Zodiac Academy. Note to students, vampire bites, loss of limbs, or getting lost in the Wailing Woods will not count as a valid excuse for being late to class or this podcast.
In today's episode, we're going to be discussing Book 6, Fated Throne, chapters 33 through 41, where the team manages to procure a prophecy from a magical oracle chair and free Orion from the shadows while retrieving Diego's missing hat.
Before we get into it, this is your warning for major spoilers ahead. This includes potentially all Zodiac Academy world books, including the Ruthless Boys and Darkmoor Penitentiary series. We might accidentally let spoilers slip for other popular romantasy book series as well. Sorry in advance. Like the books, this podcast is rated R, so be warned.
Also, a friendly reminder to please like, subscribe, and follow. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
All right, so last we saw the crew, Orion, the twins, the heirs, and Geraldine had just barely escaped a heavily guarded graveyard with the Imperial Star. Now everybody's back at King's Hollow. We get some wonderful interactions between everybody before they start to examine the star. Seth is being a kid, of course, and Darius and Tori are getting a little hot there in the kitchen for a minute. Do we think things have truly changed between them, or is this a temporary truce?
I mean, I feel like things definitely have changed for them because at this point in the story, they're not the same people that they used to be. I mean, especially the heirs, they have grown so much. And even though Darius is being a complete asshat as usual, I still feel like things have changed.
So no more drownings or, haircuts?
No.
I hope not.
No, I don't think so. I think I agree. I think Lily's right. I think things have changed fundamentally between them. I don't think the heirs, including Darius, could do those same things to them at this point after all they've gone through. Not to say that they're going to be 100% on board with the queen thing, but, I think we're getting there.
So once Lionel is dethroned, do you think that there will be a fight for the heirs versus twins throne?
No.
I feel like there is a potential that there will be a fight, but it's going to be friendly, like a challenge, like a Pokemon fight. Like nobody dies, just maybe some maiming, and then you can heal each other, and then you respect whoever's won. I don't know.
So here's what I'm picturing, what I'm hoping for, is in the end, Tori and Darcy are going to do something so major to save everybody that the heirs will be the first ones to kneel. That'd be crazy. I can see Seth kneeling, but I don't know about, at this point, Seth is the first person that I think would kneel. Maybe Max. I cannot see Darius doing it willingly. I don't know. If he does, it would be like a very romantic gesture, right? Yes. Yeah. I think
it would be very over the top.
Yeah, I can definitely. I can see Caleb. What if all three kneeled and then Darius kneeled? Like he was the final one to take a knee.
Oh, so dramatic sounding, but also like that would be beautiful. I would be so into it.
Actually, Max, is going to be on his knees because Geraldine will be the first. And she's going to be like, now.
Down, puppy. Down.
If you ever want to be in my bed again, you better get on your knees right now.
Yep. He'll do it with a shitty grin on his face, but he'll do it.
What about the spares? Do you think the spares would bow to them? Or do you think they'll try to take their siblings' place?
I don't think they even have a running in the fight, so I think they kind of begrudgingly do it. I don't think that they have enough power to challenge them.
Yeah.
What about the parents?
Yeah, I'm not worried about them.
I think they'll follow the heirs. I think they will end up kneeling as well.
I feel like I can't see the parents even being involved because they're such, I don't know, they're just like benign characters in the book. I feel like they have such little consequence on the series besides Lionel. I know that doesn't mean, like, that's not true because we have Orion's mother, and that's not really an heir, but we have Orion's mother, and then we also have Caleb's mom has been kind of involved, and then in this part we have a scene from Max's dad, but I still feel like they're inconsequential somehow.
What do y'all think about the Imperial Star? Any thoughts on what it is or what it'll be used for? And the fact that Darcy, Tori, Darius, and Gabriel all feel power from it, but the others don't. Especially, we'll talk about it when we talk about the prophecy, but if the heirs aren't feeling the power, does that mean that they can't be a ruling sovereign? Because Darius has the potential, since his dad is currently king, but this star doesn't seem to think that the other heirs have the potential to be ruling monarchs.
Well, I think it's the rules of the land, right? Like, the only reason Darius has some potential is because Lionel has forcefully taken the throne, and that's because he has shadow powers. And the other heirs' parents have not gone that far to take the throne. So unless they change something, I don't think the other heirs are in the running to be able to use that power, right?
Correct. That's what I think. I think that same thing, that they were never going to be the one and only king or queen. I guess really king since all the others are boys. But so yeah, I think for the Imperial Star, it's fuck. It looks at the differences between I talk. The fact that they were co-ruling, I don't think the Imperial Star would be like, all right, all of you get me. I think it wants one ruler. It's like the Ring of Power.
Well, if that's true, what does that say for Tori and Darcy?
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because, I don't know, they're prophesied to be rulers together, it seems. But up to this point, I don't know if we've had that, so.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Are they going to fuse and become one? That'd be crazy.
That'd be a little awkward for Orion and Darius.
You know what? They're not important in this.
Especially with their guardian bonded feelings towards each other.
I guess unless one twin is destined to die.
Yeah, but that would be such a fuck fest if they all became
Poor Darcy.
Oh my god.
Now watch it would be Tori.
Well,
no. Although yeah, I could see Tori dying. I could see that. I hope not.
Any thoughts or theories about the Imperial Star? What it'll be used for? If it'll be used, or is it just a keep away from Lionel? Because technically the girls have to be crowned queen before they can use it, which means they have to dethrone Lionel first.
The Imperial Star confuses the shit out of me. I don't really understand what it's for. And I know we haven't really learned that much about it, but I can't see what benefit it's going to give us.
Yes, and I will say it much meaner. It feels fucking useless. It feels
right now, yeah,
like a bitchy, sassy piece of star that is in no way helpful. And yeah, I feel like it's something that's going to be the big deal right now, but kind of like they've done before, it's going to end up not being part of the solution.
So you just said something interesting. You feel like it's a piece of a star?
I thought that's what it was. I thought like shit.
A star fragment?
I thought shit fell to Earth and they're like, whoa, okay, my bad, you can have it.
But they've never really said what it is. They just called it the Imperial Star.
I mean, they basically were like, it's a rock. They never said it was a star, but I mean, if it's a star, that'd be crazy, considering aren't stars supposed to be like giant balls of energy?
Yeah, which would make sense.
If it's a star fragment... Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, that would make sense, seeing as, you pointed out the star is bitchy and, says mysterious, unhelpful things, which the stars do too.
I could see it being something akin to like a cell phone to the stars. And, they answer when it makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, so true. I don't know what the fuck it's for, but if it's a star fragment, that makes a lot of sense.
But it feels like for these books that they have introduced a lot of things that could be something major that could be used, and then they don't use it. So I could
Yeah.
see that being the case here.
Me too. Like,
We have 3 books to go. And you're just now technically kind of introducing this. I mean, they did introduce it last book where they had to find it, but I feel like it's a little late in the game.
Yeah. Understatement of the year.
All right. Let's talk about Darius and his inability to see Tori and Darcy getting the throne. I know we've talked about this a little bit before, and it angered me so much whenever I first read it, because I don't understand how he could change so much and still not accept that it's not his throne.
Because it's like he's gone through a period of growth, but he's still so fucking stubborn
And he's so,
about the wrong things.
Yes.
But it doesn't make sense to me either, because all of the things that he does for her, so like lighting the fire that keeps her magic going,
Mm-hmm.
to me would be somewhat in support of her being powerful and being queen in a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I it's just kind of odd, and I think this is where Tori's kind of asking the same question that Brittany had asked. You know, at what point are you going to realize that it's your father that did all the things that? So he equated their father, the twins' father, with, okay, this is why you shouldn't be queen. But now that the tables have turned and it's his father that actually did those things, how come there isn't that same kind of viewpoint?
Spot on, Christy. Spot fucking on.
And I do think that this is probably Darius's last hurdle to jump before he becomes, like, his last flaw, I guess, so that he doesn't become boring. But I'm like...
Darius is so interesting as a character, though. I feel like he could find this acceptance and still be a fascinating character.
The way Orion did.
Yes!
But yeah, I do think that Darius does want her to be powerful. I just don't understand why he doesn't understand that he's taking from her, that the throne does not belong to him, that his father stole it, and by unfair means.
I think it's a battle within himself, because I think he just really wants what he's always, like, he's spent his whole life looking forward to this and looking towards this future. I think it's really a battle between what he envisioned for his life and then what has become of his life, his reality, versus his desire and ideal, I guess.
Yeah.
I wrote a small rant in our notes, and I think it's later on, but...
Let me read it.
It's when they were in the room with the chair, and I think it was when he was talking to Gabriel, and he says, the heirs and I have the political knowledge, strength of character, and magical training to assure that we are the only realistic candidates to rule this kingdom once my father is dethroned. And I really, I was like, is he stupid? Because one... the girls have only been in school for a year, and yet they've already defeated Seth in battle, technically. And so they are learning a little unrealistically fast how to use their powers and are basically on par with them to some degree. And then
also,
on top of...
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish your thoughts.
On top of that, the whole... What was it? We have the political knowledge. That can be learned too. So basically, he's just saying that they don't have the strength of character, and that infuriated me.
That is hilarious to me, because of all the shit that they've done. That's what I was going to say.
Is that their political knowledge? Learning how to torture people and act like dumbasses? I mean, is that... Fair enough. I see how that works.
The strength of character, my fucking ass. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. I was just like, you realize you just insulted your Elysian mate because you have your head so far up your ass about this whole situation that you can't see straight.
Well, does this kind of go back to what Lily was talking about before, when you're talking about what a guy is going to view himself as to a girl, that he wants to be the one saving them, he wants to be the one to be called on for help, and so if it is reversal, then that is going to,
Johan is the one that actually said that to me. Do you guys remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Is I was like basically telling him how infuriated I was at parts of this book. I was ranting at him, and this man had the audacity to say something that's actually useful and logical. And and he was like, well, if I could like give another perspective, it sounds like the authors actually wrote a man pretty decently, because I know a lot of men who have that fantasy, right? To be like a martyr or a hero kind of thing. It's like, damn, shut the fuck up. I'm mad at him.
So on to Xavier. He has passed the reckoning, which yay for him. He's gotten more comfortable being naked around people so he can shift. And Lily, you noted in the notes that time seems to be moving rather quickly in this book, whereas in the first book it was like literally 2 weeks, and I think the second book was a week, and the third book was a week, and now we're at Halloween.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, certain media does this, but it was just like, wait a second, how the fuck are we already? We went to Halloween, and then we get to Christmas really fast. I was like, what is happening? Weren't we already? I'm so confused. You know what I mean? I was just like trying to put together the timeline in my head.
Yeah, we didn't get to see Xavier during Hell Week.
Yeah, what a shame. What a shame, actually. Considering his horn grew 2 centimeters.
Because that's important to know.
Yeah,
he's such a fun character.
He is, but I was not as fond of him in this chapter. I was a little, he felt a little mean. And it was a little unrealistic to me, just because it seems like, I don't know, he was so nerdy before I loved it. And in this one, it felt like he went from that kind of trauma-based to really confident. And I get that some of the alpha aspect of it, but it was just like such a fast switch, because I mean, he was that way before, but he still was second guessing himself. And I don't know. I
don't know if there's a difference between like the audiobook or, and you reading it via the ebook, but the audiobook made it sound like he was faking that confidence to me, in my opinion.
He still sounds in the audiobook, he still sounds kind of like unsure of that confidence. But I still get what you're saying, because some of the things he says feel kind of shitty.
Yeah.
I think I said in response to your notes that they gave him kind of the Jacob treatment. Like the Twilight Jacob treatment, I mean, because in the first 2 books of Twilight, Jacob was goofy and he was very childish in a sweet way, and then he became a giant asshole. And I always really liked Jacob in the first few books, and I'm worried that, Xavier will take the girl stuff and the alpha stuff a little bit too hard, because in my heart, he's still a little brother.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. He does give off little brother vibes a lot.
Which I think we've all agreed is why this chapter is a little hard to read.
Yeah, and for Sophia too. It took me so long to really get to the point where I loved her. And so I am like, no, don't do this.
Yeah, I was I get that we're supposed to understand that the dynamics is like, her role is to bring that out in them, I guess. Maybe. But also sucks to read, because it's like, what are you doing? You're literally provoking them against each other, and I hate that.
Yeah. Yes, and if they didn't add that Pegasus, this is part of their mating stuff, I would hate it, and I would be absolutely turned off by Sophia altogether, because I don't like the whole, let me play you against you.
Yeah.
The mean girl kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Xavier is letting his Pegasus instincts guide him, but he has this tendency to do it wrong. Whereas he totally dejazzled his stuff that is awkward to talk about for your brother. And it falls off in front of the entire herd. And it's like the same thing where he showed up at fire class and the teacher forced him to change in front of the whole class and he stood there naked. These are the situations that poor Xavier has to go through a lot.
Ugh, it's terrible. Also, I hate the fact that they're always naked.
Which begs the question, so how weird would that be if you had class with your brother or sister?
I know, but I guess
I think they're comfortable
know.
with it.
Yeah. And obviously you don't want to see your sibling naked, ew. But maybe they, as a culture, are more accepting of each other's bodies? I don't know. In theory, it's nice to think about, but at the same time, it's like, I don't want to see that shit.
Yeah. Is that for the UK?
I do know, like, sisters change in front of each other. I don't have any sisters to say I have personal experience with that, but I know sisters who have shared a changing room where they could just...
Yeah.
I don't know if brothers would do it.
I mean, I've had girlfriends growing up that, you know, I was comfortable changing in front of, but I wasn't naked.
Yeah, I mean, I was. There was, I mean, even like in cheerleading and stuff, you know, you gotta change. So you bees naked.
Yeah.
And it was fine. Yeah. And it was not something I really thought about. But I think culturally, because the writers are from the UK, so I think culturally over there, they're a little more comfortable, which I honestly, I wish our culture was as well.
Yeah, with like just the body.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. Like, okay, do you want us to see your boobs?
Just like, here they are.
I thought we were supposed to be reading the shirt, so
I was trying to fix my computer. Okay. All right, guys.
Sorry.
That timing. They were like, okay, we don't need a demonstration.
But yeah, no, the whole culture, like just going to the doctor to get examined was really hard. And I wish our culture did make us not feel so bad about being naked.
Ashamed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Xavier doesn't have that shame anymore, thank goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, he just has a shame that he didn't know the right sticking charm to put that diamond.
Correct.
From falling off.
Did you say correct
the
or
rhinestones?
erect?
What? Stop.
But yeah, we've talked about this before. I don't know if it was on a recorded podcast or not, but I just don't understand the whole point of it other than to make it look pretty. But yeah, that's gotta hurt sexually.
Yeah.
Wait, do you remember when we were talking about it? Oh, what if you get something stuck up there?
Yeah!
It just sounds awful.
Mm-hmm.
And I get piercings, I do, but those, you know, are piercings. They're gonna stay, and even then, some people have problems. But it's just like a whole bunch of rocks on your junk that then...
But the thing is, though, for the piercings, aren't they usually like balls or smooth-sided stuff? It's not like you're going to stick a star on a piercing down there.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. Unless you're a straight-up masochist, which I guess you could.
Oh, true.
And this is just, you know, rocks being hit against very sensitive parts on both ends.
Ew.
And it just does not seem appealing to me.
No.
Yeah, that as well, which I'll mention it later, but it's got to be the Pegasus instinct to be shiny, right? I would assume.
I mean, they poop glitter is it they poop glitter or fart glitter? I don't know, just put it on your body.
I think it's farts. I really hope it's not poop.
They really do. I don't remember farting glitter. They fart glitter?
I don't know.
How cute.
I know that they shed it. I know it comes off their mane and stuff, at least.
Imagine how magical.
The farts?
Just like this. All the glitter coming off.
Yeah, no, imagine like, you know how people try to hide it and they're just like, okay, I'll just let it go. It'll be quiet. And then just...
just like a little... You would never be able to quietly fart in an aisle at the store.
Or if you're swimming in the pool and then just all of a sudden there's glitter everywhere.
A bubble pops up and it bursts out glitter.
At least in the pool, you might be able to blame someone else if there's another Pegasus. But
maybe. That's hilarious.
The glitter is colored, though. Because, like, Tyler sheds silver glitter. He's a silver Pegasus.
Oh my god.
I don't know if that's an actual thing. That's just the way it connected in my head. But I think the glitter is,
like,
corresponding to their
Pegasus color.
Okay,
Is it? Or
this
maybe
has
by
to
foods,
be...
like they can change up their fart color?
Oh my god, that's getting way too into this. But okay, if they shed the color of their Pegasus form, then that's actually kind of a written in disadvantage, because if you're just on the battlefield and you're shedding glitter, you're like leading a trail to yourself everywhere. Like that would be crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
now that we've gotten severely off topic.
So we get some more interactions with the spares. They never really got the chance to hang out the way that the heirs did, but they are kind of banding together, except for, Ellis, and getting really close. Hadley is kind of taking on this obsession with Athena.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on their relationship? I think it would be interesting if they, Seth and Caleb and Athena and Hadley
were all a thing.
Crazier
things have happened.
I think they're just going to be a little something, and then I don't think it'll last.
Like a little fling.
But they are funny together. I do actually like the spares, except for Ellis. I like the spares. I'm hoping they give Ellis some sort of storyline that kind of redeems her a bit.
I don't know if I care about her being redeemed yet.
What's Athena's brother's name?
I can't remember.
It's Grayson.
Grayson. I actually really like that name.
Mm-hmm.
Grayson.
I wish we'd get more of him.
Yeah, it would be nice to see more of him. Although he's probably just like a miniature Seth, and so it'd be like redundant.
Yeah, he does seem like that with his hordes of fangirls.
Yeah.
But Hadley and his fangirls too.
Yeah, I said this to you guys before, but Hadley seems just like a kind of like a skeezier Caleb.
Yeah.
He sounds so much like Caleb to me, but Caleb is smooth with it, and Hadley still has to work those kinks out.
I feel like he's Caleb without the heart.
Yeah, Caleb has a little bit of like warmth.
A lot of warmth. Caleb is very warm.
Okay. Miss Caleb's number one fan over here.
Uh-huh.
I mean, Caleb is a good guy.
He is.
When he wants to be.
Yes.
Let
us not forget that scene in the forest. That shit was weird.
The scene in the forest?
Which one?
I've already forgotten, apparently. When he broke her back?
No.
That was a
when
mistake.
they go to the fair.
Oh!
But it was so sweet. In a
the
way.
Mountain.
Sweet.
He drove her up there to leave her.
But he didn't.
I thought he was gonna really hurt her.
But he didn't. He was like, you know what? I am not going to do what I think I'm supposed to do. He chose not to. He made the right choices.
He intended to.
He
just
totally
saying.
was going to.
But he
was.
didn't.
Because he got turned on.
Well, whatever the mechanisms. So yes, I feel like of all of them, he accesses his emotions the most, and he is the one that seems to be okay with looking like an idiot for those emotions. So.
Yeah, he's passionate. For
Very
sure.
true.
And he didn't mean to break her back. I mean, it was kind of a whoopsie, you know?
Oh,
Yeah,
that was sad.
Yeah. That
Whoopsie.
was...
My bad.
That was...
Meanwhile,
Yeah.
Hadley is trying to give Xavier feedback on how he should handle his crush on Sophia, and Hadley's like, fuck as many girls as you can for practice.
Yeah.
Boy logic.
Yeah. And of course, he's like, oh, you need to get rid of your virginity right now. It's gotta go. And
I was like,
Xavier,
does
of course...
it have to be right now?
Xavier, of course, being a boy, is like, I'm not a virgin. Nope. Nope. That's not me.
It's not that big a deal.
It's not. I honestly hate it whenever a book has a heroine who's a virgin.
Yeah, because it's not... I get some people have that kink, I guess. Like, some people think it's hot in a weird way. I think it's stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I do not want to see him losing his virginity or anything like that. It would be like watching your little brother have sex. I do not need those
No.
scenes. Mm-mm.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I need a TV treatment where they close the door and you can assume that it happened.
Do you think these authors would take the Lorcan did it road?
No.
I'm
no.
still mad about Lorcan. Still mad about that. They would never. They would give us the most excessive, drawn
Explicit.
out, yes, sex scene. And honestly, I don't want to read that about Sophia either. I'm gonna be honest, but it is what it is.
Just prepare yourselves.
God damn it.
Although my thing is, I would like that same treatment for fight scenes. It seems like the fight scenes are like, boop, done.
I thought the graveyard scene was an example of something that was pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have liked to see more of it, but
Yes.
it was frustrating because it kept going back and forth to Orion and Darcy, and I was like, stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the problem with their point of views. There's so many of them that when there is a fight, they're like, okay, let's do Tori, and now Darcy, and now Orion, and now Darius, and now Caleb, and
I think sometimes when they're writing, they see it in their head like a movie or like a show, and they're like, okay, if this were real, we would be flashing back and forth. You know what I mean? But in the writing, you don't have to do it like that to that extent.
yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was an odd choice. I just felt like it was taking me out of the moment.
Yeah.
Sadly, it's something they continue to do, to go back and forth between POVs during a fight.
You know what? That would have been really helpful to have in this threesome.
Move it
In
along a little
Xavier's
faster.
point of view.
Yes.
At least I would have gotten through it a little bit easier.
I think that's the hard part too about not liking the Sophia and Xavier situation is that you like
Yeah.
Tyler. If they hadn't made Tyler
Yeah.
so likable and it was just some random dom, then I think I would have been completely fine with Xavier and Sophia getting together the way that they are. But I think because we
Yeah.
love Tyler, you don't want to see him hurt.
Yeah, and I thought Sophia and Tyler were cute,
Yeah.
to be honest, and I enjoyed them the way that they were. I get that characters have to change, but I thought that what was going was I liked it.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. Obviously, this threesome scene is an indicator of possibly some future things.
Can there be co-doms?
Co-doms.
Co-parenting, almost.
Don't say that.
They're going to co-parent Sophia?
No, the herd, you freak. Okay. Anyway, so Xavier participates in this little threesome.
Yes, which happens at this super secret Halloween party that Agent Foxy invited them to. Poor Gabriel gets all the worst nicknames.
Truly. Wait, was it Gabby that invited them, or was it Geraldine?
It was Agent Foxy, which is
Gabby.
Gabriel. But Geraldine met them at the door, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, she's the one who's putting together Dumbledore's army.
Right.
But because you mentioned it in the notes, where later on in the water class, Washer is doing the bend and snap, I thought it was hilarious that Geraldine teaches them how to do a dance at the Halloween party, and all I could think of was the Macarena. And so the whole time I'm reading it, I'm like,
Okay.
Doing the little movements.
yeah, there's so many 90s references in this section alone. I was just like,
Okay.
why didn't I notice these before?
Also, can we mention just very briefly before we move on how fucking whipped Hadley is for Athena?
Oh God, yes.
Oh my god, he would never admit it, but it's just like Caleb and Tori all over again. It's like,
Oh yeah.
It's like people know their number. You just have to tell them no.
Okay, but Hadley was telling Xavier to sleep with as many people as possible. Do you think Hadley's going to if he's in love with Athena? Or is he going to go
he's
the Caleb route?
projecting.
Because Caleb did.
I think when he first got there, he did sleep with a lot of girls, and then he had a conversation with Caleb about why it doesn't feel right or something like that.
It's not filling the void.
Well, might need to be bigger, but,
Death. Murder him.
Alright, so on to that water elemental class, which seems to be the only class that we get lately, except for like a glimpse of high spells once in a blue moon. But Max and Darius have this water fight, and they seem to be having this little competition. Like you said, Lily, a dick measuring contest, essentially.
100% a dick measuring contest. Like, yeah, well, I'm better at water magic than you are.
And
Are you?
girls are sending me 100 panties a week.
Yeah.
And then Darius brings up Cindy Lou, which y'all remember she was the one who wrote him a letter in book 2.
I don't remember that. I didn't pay attention to the name.
She included some hair for him to sniff.
The thing is, I didn't have to remember the name because I remember how horrific the letter was. I remember being like, ew, that's so weird. You know what I mean? The visceral reaction I had.
I remember the letter and how gross it was, but I don't remember them fucking killing the Grinch in it. I mean, really, Cindy Lou Who? You're gonna... Oh, that's all I can picture now for that.
They really are the worst at choosing names, I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
She's a character in the Ruthless Boys series. She was Gabriel's wife's brother's girlfriend who had a dragon obsession, and she pursued Dante for quite a while, and she hated Elise for actually getting Dante.
She's got issues, it sounds like.
Yeah, she was also portrayed with a southern accent in that series, and it really, really irritated me. I hate that.
I feel like these authors know jack shit about the South.
Yeah,
You know what I
pretty
mean?
sure they know jack shit about America.
Yeah. Is Jerry supposed to be kind of southern, right? Or maybe country?
Mm-hmm.
I think she's supposed to be a southern lady, which is different than the Cindy Lou southern.
Right. Then there are differences. But
Yeah.
both are similarly bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, by the way, Geraldine does interrupt this fight, whips them a little bit with a water whip.
God, I love her.
And
Yeah.
And sadly, Ellis interrupts Max's pursuit of her and basically demands that she teach him, which is so unfair. That
It's kind of sad.
yeah,
It's like, first of all, they don't have a good relationship. And then second of all, I don't know, she's just kind of a pathetic character.
yeah.
Yeah.
And this is our first real introduction to her, and she just seems like this spoiled brat. Do you think she's gonna be any different than what we're shown? Or is Mommy Dearest made her into basically Lionel 2.0?
I don't know.
Go ahead, Christy.
I feel like they might go extreme either way. Either she'll do something that makes her really good, or they're going to do something that she's going to end up being really bad. Yeah, like Lionel 2.0, or his little minion. I don't know if I would consider her on par with Lionel, but like his little minion.
I think that's a good projection that she'll probably go heavily to one side, one or the other. I think that there's potential for her character, but as of right now, she's pretty much one note.
Yep.
I could see her being good, though.
Apparently not by Brittany's face.
So Max is woken up and has to siphon Tori's emotions. And he invites Caleb to kind of help him out with the emotional overload, since Caleb has a little bit better emotions than Tori, happier emotions than Tori. And he wakes up to this dream that is literally a combination of him, Tori, and Caleb. What did y'all think? It's like a shirtless Seth and a shirtless Darius.
Oh God.
And Geraldine saying sexy fish words.
I think the most fascinating thing about this chapter is this weird dream because of the way that he can project his power, or kind of the way his power seeps out, I just thought it was really crazy that Max's abilities go so much farther than we're led to believe up to this point. And I think it kind of shows that sirens seem to be oddly powerful in ways that we didn't know. And I don't know, it's just crazy, like the abilities he seems to have.
Yeah. And I mean, speaking of which, we do get another insight into what Tori went through and how Lionel taught her to associate him with healing and being out of pain.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Those are the hardest to read, in my opinion, like of everything that's written in the series. Reading what Tori went through with Lionel gets me every time.
Yeah, it is really tough to read, especially, what is his name? The Cyclops?
Vard.
Yeah, Vard. Especially the scenes with him are really not cool.
He's creepy.
Really, really hope he suffers a lot.
Same.
I almost hate him more than Lionel.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because
Yeah.
Lionel's pretty evil, but something about Vard is just...
I think because Lionel seems to have, he enjoys Tori's pain, but it's almost like he just enjoys it as a byproduct of what he's trying to get out of the world. You know what I mean? Like his ultimate end goal is not just to torture her.
Yes.
I guess.
Yes.
And
He
so
does get off on it, though.
Oh, I'm sure he does, and that's disgusting and I hate it. But what I'm saying is, I think in the moment you can kind of look past it a little bit because it's not the sole focus of his character, but Vard's, the way he's portrayed is so just disgusting and creepy, and it's focused on those feelings of manipulation and getting through her vulnerabilities, and just the way that he assaults her is so, ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Not to mention the fact that somebody can get into your head and mess with your memories.
Oh,
And your
literally my worst
feelings.
fear. Yeah. Agreed.
So Max does wake up to some also more bad news. His stepmom has outed him as not her child, and I love the fact that, you know, Tiberius calls and his first thought is, "Are you okay, son? How are you dealing with this news?" And not, "There's a scandal, we have to fix it."
Yeah, very different from what we've seen from the heir's parents so far.
Yeah, I think Tiberius is probably my favorite parent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Catalina too.
Well, oh yeah.
But
Yeah,
as
that's
far
true.
as the counselors go,
I feel like Catalina
He's
doesn't count.
I feel like she's one of
You
the
know-
group, one of the main core instead of the parent.
Yeah, I agree with that, yeah.
But I was really glad that this came out because I think that was really the only thing over Max's head.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now it's out, it's done. Not only that, but I thought it was really stupid of his mother to use it at this point just because her daughter is being a bitch. If she really wanted to use that secret to her advantage, she would have waited for another time. And so, you know, what better way to do it than right now? Get it out of the way.
I agree. It's like when Xavier was kind of forced out of the so-called closet, the window. I feel that by Max having this revealed for him, he can now not have that shouldered. Like, he doesn't have to burden that anymore, in a way.
even though Lionel is making a stink about minotaurs.
I think so, because I think the issue that Lionel's going to have is that the other heirs have come out vocally in support of him. And
Mhm.
so I think that would be a really difficult hurdle and something he is not going to... That would be a stupid fight for him to take on with all the other shit he's got going on.
Yeah, I think the Minotaur thing is going to blow up in Lionel's face, maybe.
I personally, if it were me, I would have demanded a divorce right then and there. Like, kick the bitch out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now you have no reason to keep her around, right?
Yeah,
She
I
literally
mean-
gave away her power.
She betrayed Tiberius, and
Yeah. Isn't that breaking a star promise?
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes. Yes, yes.
it depends on what they promised in their vows, I think.
Interesting.
Surely loyalty would have been in there somewhere.
You would think.
You never know, I
But,
guess.
you know, Lionel gets away with sleeping around, so we have to wait until we get a wedding to see any vows.
Yeah.
All right. So Meanwhile, while Max is hearing from Tiberius, Darius and Seth are having a long-awaited talk about Orion and Seth's lovely plans for Orion and Darcy.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I mentioned this before, but and I know y'all have seen bits and pieces of Big Bang, but I feel like, to some degree, Seth is Sheldon. There's this one episode that keeps coming to mind where I think it's Raj's girlfriend gets upset by something Sheldon does, and everybody's like, but it's Sheldon. This is why he doesn't understand, and you just have to, get over it. And I think sometimes that they do that to Seth. They're like, this is just the way Seth is, and you're going to have to get over it. Although, Seth is more puppy-like and likable than Sheldon.
Yes, Sheldon is like the worst character, like ever, maybe. I hate Sheldon.
I like Sheldon in some ways. He's annoying, but he'll have his moments.
He takes a stereotype and takes it to a degree that I hate. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I think the whole show does that, though.
For every character. Just...
Maybe so.
Yeah.
To some degree, Sheldon a little bit more.
Yeah.
But anyway, back on topic. I just wanted to mention my parents love watching Big Bang, and so I see it a lot. And I just had this thought whenever I was thinking about Seth. I was like, well, dang. Because I was just like, who could hate Seth? And then I was like, oh.
Okay.
But anyway, what did y'all think about Seth's plan and his totally naive, Orion's gonna love me the best one day?
Oh my god. It always cracks me up when he is like, yeah, Lancey is gonna love me after this. It's like, bro, how delusional can you get? Love you so much, but no.
Yeah, usually the person you're jealous of when it comes to a girl is not gonna be your best friend after you get the girl.
I can't wait
and
for
he's
him
like,
to try to explain it.
No, for real. Because he's taking it so far. There's a later scene in this section where Orion is like, you were kissing him. And Darcy is like, and how do I explain that?
Yeah, I mean, hope
he takes it to a level.
Show the scene. Yeah.
To be fair, honestly, she should have been like, well, technically Seth assaulted me.
But
that would make things even worse.
Literally, like, as I was reading that, I was like, Seth, baby, that's assault. I was like, no, there's no consent there.
But with, it's so funny because you know how Seth and Caleb have their relationship and they're like, well, Caleb's a vampire and he likes to be alone. Orion is like that to the nth degree. He literally is like, I care about two people in my life, and that is Darcy and Darius. And maybe Tori because of Darcy.
Yeah, that's true. I never really thought of that. He's super, I don't know, he's just very focused.
Yeah.
So true.
Oh, and Gabriel. Gabriel is another person that he cares about.
Noxie. Yeah.
Noxie.
Yeah, him as well. This scene where Darius is talking to Seth is so funny because Darius is like, what the fuck are you doing? And Seth's like, oh, well, here's my plan. And then Darius is like, that's a great plan.
He's like, fine, I'll support it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't with these boys.
Oh, man. And as far as Max goes, you guys know I love Max, and I love that he is doing what he's doing for Tori. But the moment Caleb climbed into that bed, I knew it was going to end badly. Like, I knew Darius was going to catch them. And, of course, the authors had to top that and make Darius and Seth find them.
Of course.
And
I knew it as well. As I was reading it, I was like, oh, this is going to end badly.
Yeah.
I did not.
No, go ahead, Christy, sorry. You didn't see it coming?
No.
Well, I will say, like, when I first read it, I didn't feel too much about it, but the owning talk really got to me this time around. And I was just like, this is too much. It's getting on my nerves.
Oh, where Darius gets really possessive?
Yeah, he's like, I own her. She's mine. Do you, though? Do you?
Almost can't. I almost overlook it now because I feel like it's just the dragon coming
Yeah,
out.
I mean, like I said, when I first read it, I was okay with it. And I guess it's just the mood that I've been in lately because I told this to Chrissy. I've been rewatching Grey's Anatomy and I loved it when I first watched it. But now I'm like, George is fucking annoying. Alex is fucking annoying. Izzy is fucking annoying.
Oh my god.
Callie is fucking annoying. They're all, except for, Meredith and Christina. Which somebody pointed out on the internet, and sorry, this is way off topic, but the original 5 interns of that show are Meredith, Alex, Izzy, George, and Christina. And if you put their names together, it's magic.
Oh, that's cute. That's cute.
I was like, damn it. Now I think they're cute. But yeah, no, George is annoying. But back onto topic. I do love that after Darius runs off to be a whiny little bitch at this moment, Tori follows him and she's like, no, you're not. You're going to talk to me.
Yeah, I always think that's a good thing. That's personally how I handle most arguments in my relationship. It's like, no, we need to talk about this right now. And it usually works out. Although,
and then of course,
this time it didn't quite lead to talking.
I was going to say, yeah, then of course it led to mud sex with the stars literally trying to kill them.
Foul, actually, because mud sex sounds awful. So gross.
The whole time I read that scene, it was kind of like when Lionel was having that conversation with Stella in book 2. I was just like, how are you concentrating enough to hold that bubble so that you don't die?
Yeah, I would not be thinking about the bubble. I'm telling you right now. I would be thinking about mud up my hoo-ha. Up the choncha.
I mean, to be
other
fair,
places.
Just going to the beach and sitting in the sand is not great. I can't imagine.
No, yeah. Just sounds awful.
Yeah. So later, he is walking to the orb and he gets drawn in by this trap that Jerry set for him.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, I love this part.
Just sees a little glint of gold and is like, ooh, let me follow the trail. The very obvious trail.
And I'll repeat what I said before. A 438-year-old solid gold aura from King Agrion's reign. Okay, nerd.
Yeah, he's like, well, not only do I know every piece of treasure, I know down to the year and probably the alloys in it.
And
right? Do you guys think that that's like a dragon ability and that he just knows that off the top of his head? Or do you think that he had to study to know
I feel like
the coins?
It has to be a dragon ability. It has to be.
What? And this was something I had said before, is that if it's that...
Yeah, that's really smart, actually. Why wouldn't they just throw some coins out there to distract him or something?
I mean...
Here, kitty. Here, kitty.
I can't remember if it's in the boys' point of view or not, but the outside of the orb is decorated in gems, and Darius's first day, he stole all the gems, and occasionally Orion would replace them to distract him.
Oh, I don't remember you telling me about the Orion part. That's even better. Yeah, there's a meme going around. Well, it's been out for a little while now, but it's a Markiplier meme, and it's where he's talking to the camera, and then he has the set of keys, and he's like, jingle, jangle, pay attention. And then he starts talking again, and he's like, jingle, jangle, pay attention. Almost like, come on, hello? I feel like you could use the gold that way for Lionel.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And apparently carrots for
Xavier.
Oh, my God.
Oh my god. Okay, I thought, as this scene was unfolding, I thought that Xavier was also going to be drawn by the coins because I just assumed that, because Pegasus likes shiny, that the coins would work for both of them. And I was so disappointed when it was a carrot. I was like, God damn it, carrots!
Well, at least carrots cost less than the gold that, like, Darius is like, I'm not giving it back. You lost it.
He's like, yeah, that was folly on your part.
God. Yeah, I fear for their safety if it's that easy to.
That is so
Get
funny,
them.
man. I really hope they try that, because that would be great.
Yeah. That right there to me shows why that Tori and Darcy should be the queens, because they would never fall for such stupid pranks.
I have a question for y'all. You know, remember how I said, so Orion reads the diary and the cup, there's a cup that he has.
A goblet? Yeah, or something like that.
There are stones, like the gauntlet that he needs.
Oh, yeah.
Darius and stone, like these supposed, because they're like the Zodiac stones that are associated with different zodiacs, like birthstones, kind of. So,
like how well. This is why Darius isn't the prophesized hero.
he can't give up a chain for Darcy to put the Imperial Star on without her having to pry apart his hand. How is he gonna deal with them having to find these precious stones?
Yeah. He's still got flaws.
Yes.
Still interesting.
Speaking of still interesting, they go visit Mama Catalina, or should I call her Kitty now?
Aww.
Kitty.
She's with Hamish, and they're a little flirty.
Yes, girl, get it. Get it. I'm so here for it, Kat.
Mm-hmm.
Get that Hamish dick, girl. I'm so happy for you.
Y'all think Geraldine and Darius are gonna end up being siblings?
Yes.
Oh, that would be great. I think it would be fantastic. Okay, that means that Geraldine would have to come to all of the family events, and not as an advisor, as a cousin or like a half sibling.
That would mean if Tori and Darius got married, that Geraldine would be sister-in-law.
I love that! Yes.
Yes. And that means that now Darius can light up Justin Masters. Yep.
Oh, even better, because we can't have Justin Masters in the royal family. No.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. Something needs to happen
That
to
would
that boy.
also mean that Max, if he got together with Geraldine, would be brother-in-law.
Oh my god, they'd all be related. That'd be crazy.
Except for Seth and
Wait.
Caleb.
No, Caleb is related to Gabby.
Yeah. So that would make, if Seth and Caleb got together, then...
This is getting messy.
Okay, so Caleb is Gabriel's
Cousins?
wife's cousin.
Right.
And so that would mean that Seth would be cousin-in-law.
Yes. So they'd all be related.
Oh my
which
God.
is nuts. So wait,
I do know
is
something
this...
about the South.
They would be married by, or related by blood, but...
So, wait, what if this is like a loophole for the whole reign thing? They are all part of the royal family eventually, and then they all are able to use the star fragment. That'd be crazy.
That would be a fucking mess. No.
That would
be a mess.
They would all be using it for all sorts of different shit, especially Seth. I mean, he was fucking the moon. Can you imagine what he would use that star for? No.
Could you imagine what Seth would use? I want Caleb to love me forever, and I wouldn't have to actually tell him how I feel.
100% he would do that. I'm so glad you brought up him fucking the moon, because I thought I forgot about that absolute masterpiece of a plot line.
It would be like, also, I need the moon to love me back.
Yeah, that's what he would do. No, that is definitely what he would do.
Yeah, but he would also order food with it. He would do like the dumbest shit.
We didn't talk about the game. Well, it's brought up later. The game that Seth thinks he's playing with Tori.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. He's such a little kid. I mentioned to y'all that I felt like this is when you're playing a game with your dog, but well, like you're not playing a game, but your dog thinks you're playing a game. When he's playing keep away from something that you really need them to give back. You know what I'm talking about? When you're playing with your dog and the dog's like, no, it's mine. And you're like, I wasn't trying to play with the item. Give it back to me.
Well, it's also kind of like when you put something on a coffee table and the cat's like, I'm just gonna knock it over, and you're like,
Yeah,
no,
just
Keep it there.
Yes.
which by the way,
Take off with your
Flocka keeps
chapstick
doing.
for the 100th time. Yes.
Not the chapstick.
Fucking Anya.
Because it smells like mint, probably.
Well, it's close, but they all seem to gravitate toward it. But Anya will actually put it in her mouth and run off. She will
Oh
take
my
off with
gosh.
it. And
She's so funny. I want to see a picture of her, by the way. I haven't seen her in a while.
Well, if you look on Instagram, I've got the little video with her and
Oh, yeah.
Orion
Oh,
with the Meet the Robinson song. It was so cute.
so cute.
Yeah.
I love
she
that.
is a little baby
Oh,
who will
Little
never
sassy
grow
baby.
up. Not in my brain.
Mhm.
obsessed.
She's so cute.
Mhm.
All right. Talking about Kitty. I honestly, when I first read this scene, I had this expectation of Darius blowing up at Hamish because he has his mother cooking dinner, and I felt like Darius was going to think she was being treated like a servant because his initial thought was, ooh, servants are cooking. And I was so glad that they didn't, and they actually had this like, Mom, you cooked this? Wow moment.
Yeah. I think it's one of the moments where we can see that Darius has changed for good, in a good way, because he sees his mom happy, and I think he just immediately goes like, oh, this is good.
Yeah.
Right. So pitfall practice, this is where Seth admits that he thinks that he's in some sort of game, and he also assaults Darcy, but we also receive not one but two chewing outs. One for Washer by Darcy about his pervy ways, and one for Darcy by Seth about Orion. Any thoughts on these? I know Christy... Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I know, Christy, you said you kind of felt slightly sorry for Washer.
Oh, yeah.
I do. And don't get me wrong, he's still a pervert. He needs to be called out on that, so that was good. But at the same time, he's also one of the few that's willing to openly stand up to Lionel. So there's a part of that I like and enjoy, and I feel like maybe they're going to redeem Washer a little bit, make him a little bit of a hero. Hopefully, at least that is the way that it looks like it's going. As for Seth, I'm really glad. I think that's what I've been waiting for, was for somebody to kind of call her out a bit on that.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to point out that, remember when Darcy was all like, I know what love is, for Tori, I know what love is, you fight for it, Tori. And so I kind of felt like this in that moment was a little bit of Seth kind of doing the same thing to her of,
Yeah.
practice what you preach.
I did also feel slightly sorry for Washer, but only because she did it in public and in front of people, and I would have wanted it to be private. But also, I agree with everything that she said.
So,
Yeah.
I think I'm on the other end of the spectrum where I'm like, I'm so glad that she called him out, and I think it was well deserved. And I think because he does that shit in public, he deserved to be called out in public, because that bitch is nasty. Okay. But I do see him being redeemed and being like an interesting, important character, though. So I think that there's an interesting progression that we're seeing with him. As far as Seth and Darcy go, that was a much needed talk, and I'm so glad that he basically called her out. Are you fucking crazy? Obviously, he did all this shit for you, and you're pretending like it didn't happen. And then she admits that they had a moment in the crypt, and he's like, wait a minute, whoa, like, back up, we gotta talk about this. I was proud of Seth for just being honest with her. I think that they have a relationship that is really beneficial for them both.
Yes. So one crucial question, when the final battle comes and they are literally fighting for themselves and everybody else, is Washer still going to be in his little teeny tiny bathing suit?
Probably. I can see that.
I can't see him operating any differently.
I'm just picturing the sword, like,
Oh,
seasonal
no.
outfit.
It'll probably be armored, though.
There
Yeah.
you go. Perfect.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Yes.
He's got to
His
have
armored
the...
Speedo.
Yes, it's going to be like stretchy on the sides, and then the cup. It's going to be like a cup of armor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he might even be able to do some damage with that,
He's definitely going to make jokes about it being very hard. And yeah,
Yes. See, whole storyline.
absolutely.
Sorry, I know
No,
things
picturing
about somebody's armor that is
Oh, so you're telling us we're going to get something like that?
Oh, really?
Somebody's penis is going to be erect in an armor.
Is it going to be like
see
Batman
that
and
coming.
Robin?
Oh my god.
not a man's armor.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
We're going to get like
Jerry.
nipples out.
Is it Jerry? Is she going to cut people with those?
Oh my god. Her bazongas. Her battling bazongas.
Her bouncy betties might become battling
Begon.
Bazongas. Begonias.
Oh,
Wow.
I think we haven't seen enough of Jerry in combat, so I'm ready.
well, the last battle scene that I remember, other than the graveyard, was when the nymphs invaded during that pitball, or right after the pitball game, and she turned into a Cerberus and basically bounded across the field,
Yeah.
throwing them like
Amazing.
a dog, and play toys.
I love that she's a Cerberus. I think that's so cool.
So Darcy is sent to Orion because everybody else is also busy. So they send her, and she gets there, and he's naked in the shower.
Listen, she's just living our dream. That's all.
Doesn't announce her presence.
You gotta do what you gotta do. No, that's terrible. It's terrible. He didn't seem to have a problem with it.
No, but she, of course, is still in full denial, and that's where I'm just like, if you're in denial about you perving on your ex-boyfriend, then you need to stop perving.
Truly. I will say, though, like, they both pissed me off in this scene because not only is she still in denial, but then he's still being, like, I don't know,
Not
just
good enough
really...
for you.
Yeah, like, pissy.
Yeah. But he does go back into teacher mode. High Spell, of course, is not teaching a levitation spell to the back of the class, so he has to teach her.
It was nice to see them like that again.
Yeah, I agree. I love that dynamic for them. Most of the time, I mean, honestly, like the whole, guys like to do the whole, like, let me teach you how to play pool. And that's kind of hot. But most of the time, the whole teacher-student thing.
Yeah, usually I'm not into it, but I think because Orion and Darcy, I don't know, they have this relationship that you miss at this point. And so to see them have interactions that aren't stupid is kind of nice.
Well, let's
Just to put it simply.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm done. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say that I like the fact that, because usually you see the mentor interactions, it's sexual. And I think with Darcy and Orion, he really wants to help her. It is, he did me wrong. Sex are on the table, I'm sure that he'd be there for it, but it really is just to help her.
Yeah.
They do end up looking at the diary under the full moon, and surprise of all surprises, Darcy can read it, even though Darius couldn't, which is kind of telling for Darius, because he was warned that only somebody, a true person who supports them can read it.
Yeah, only a true supporter of the throne or something like that.
Yeah. And they do learn that it has to be a reigning monarch to wield the Imperial Star or die. And they get a spell from the diary that they have to memorize. And can I just say I want that spell to be real?
Yeah. Would
So
be
real.
nice for all of us, considering some recent happenings.
Yeah. Just like even with my diabetes, like just be immune to all disease, please.
I know.
And it's Christmas Eve now.
All of a sudden.
And there's a party going on. And can I mention that we get 2 parties and nothing horrendous happens so far?
That's true.
Like, nobody's poisoned or drugged or drowned or any of the things. But we do have to attend a party with Lionel.
But what confuses me is, there's no reason do we have to revisit this, but it's just like, it's so confusing about the timeline because we had a prophecy from Gabriel that was like, if you don't finish this in the next few weeks, bad things are going to happen. And then they do find it, but I don't know. It's just, do you see what I'm saying? Like, the timeline's fucking weird. I just don't get it. We have moments where the time frame really matters, and then we have gaps in space where it's like, what is happening in between that? Are y'all just holding on to the star fragment now and Lionel doesn't care about it?
I would assume that Lionel is still looking for it, but
yeah,
it's glossed over and not really explained. And there were times when Lionel was like, I don't need the star. And Clara was like, no, we're going to find it.
Well, I don't know if, and that's why I was saying for the Imperial Star, I don't actually know if they'll end up using it, because I think there's a lot of things in these books that are shown to be really important in the moment, and then we never hear anything about them again, and it doesn't connect to something that actually makes a difference in the end of the book.
Or it seems to,
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But it's Christmas Eve now, and there's a party.
And Gabriel's been told by the stars that he could be snuck in so that he could get this prophecy from the magical oracle chair.
Yeah.
But before that happens, Lionel is with Tori, and Darius comes up, and there's a little bit of a slip that Tori makes when Darius insults Mildred. Do we think that Lionel took notice of it, or was Darius right and he would have called her out on it right away if he did?
I don't remember it. Can you remind me?
Lionel calls Mildred beautiful, and Darius said, let's not kid ourselves. She's not beautiful. She's ugly as like all get out. And Tori snorts and then tries to cover it up.
Yeah. Is that the first time? Because I feel like the last section she danced with Darius, I think. And I also thought that was
She did, but dangerous. I think she did it under Lionel's
blessing
instruction.
Yeah, he told her to.
Okay.
Yeah, because Darius is like, do you enjoy throwing her at me, knowing that I can't have her?
Yeah.
But I think it was still the issue of how much she probably openly enjoyed it while they were dancing that we kind of called out. But one thing I did think about in this part, Lily, and you had pointed this out before about how they keep using Gabby's connection to the stars to, it's almost like they use it to fast forward through potentially difficult scenes. So, okay, you can go in without getting caught tonight. It would have been better if he had come in, we didn't know, and we had kind of gone through that, had a little bit of a mystery, but it seems like they use that to simplify it, and it's kind of takes away from the story.
Yeah, I think it would have been better if Gabby's sight didn't show him outcomes, that it showed him pathways. And he says that is how it works, but he has some kind of ability to either average or to see that, all of these pathways are successful, or there's a likelihood for this to be successful or something like that. But I really think that it would be a smarter mechanic if he was just able to see possibilities only, not any outcomes. And I don't know, I just feel like this could have been done a bit differently.
I could see that.
Because they use him as like a deus ex machina, where like if a character is concerned about something, he can just be like, it's fine. You're going to be successful. Everything's going to be okay. It's like, okay, well, takes the fun out of it. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think I would have noticed that until you said something about it.
Yeah. In the Darkmoor Penitentiary series, I think it was the second to last book, she gets a phone call from Dante, and he's like, Gabriel said tonight's the night that you're gonna escape, so just be prepared.
Like, what?
Yeah. Just read me the end of the book already.
Yeah, I just don't get it. That could have been a call like, hey, Gabriel thinks that you should come outside, like leading you to the next action instead of leading you to the conclusion.
Yeah,
Yeah, if that makes sense. But
it does.
sorry,
And
Brittany, I
they
feel like
they
I've saddened you.
no, they do use Gabriel is one of my favorite characters, but they do use him
Yeah.
in a way to fix something instead of making a well thought out plot of
Yeah.
how they can overcome this. They're just like, Gabriel's a fix it all.
He's like a band-aid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I love that Tori in chapter 38 makes a point to say, oh, I forgot to dick kick Orion today.
Yeah, she's like, oh.
Forgot to fulfill my to-do list.
Yeah. Anyways.
Christy, you've noted that you said I don't trust the stars, and you thought that Gabriel was going to get screwed.
Yeah, although that probably would have been really interesting. But yeah,
It would have been.
but I just don't trust them. I mean, anything that's definitive, oh, this is going to work out. It feels like, oh, tempting fate. So I thought they were going to have issues. I think that's when they didn't was when I went back to what Lily said, and it was like, okay, that kind of takes the fun out of it if there's no, like, they're going to make it.
No real danger there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's fair to not trust the stars because I feel like sometimes they feel like Greek gods that are just playing with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and speaking of Gabriel sort of making a prediction, they do end up sneaking him in, but he also tells Orion and Darcy that since they're not going to be invited to the party, that now's the perfect time to go to his house and get Diego's abuela's hat.
Which, okay, with where we stop this section, at the end of this section, chapter 41, at the end of this, you think bad shit is going to happen, right? Obviously, not to skip forward too far, but it leaves us on a cliffhanger, like a really scary one. But thinking about what Gabriel said, can it go wrong? Just makes me question. And I'll talk more about some things when we get to that chapter, but I have thoughts. We're almost there.
So Tori and Darius do manage to get Gabe to the chair, and he does make this prophecy. And, Tori and Darius have this argument, which we did talk about earlier. And Gabriel tells him later, in half of the scenarios that Gabriel sees for them, Darius acts like an ass and ruins the relationship. Thoughts?
Right. I mean, I believe that. I mean, I think that there's always going to be a possibility for him to ruin the relationship.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
Obviously, Gabby knows something we don't know, but I think there's always a possibility for Darius to be an ass.
Well, yeah. All right, so on to the prophecy, which I want to analyze, and I'm going to read it.
Okay.
It says, "Hear me now, for this prophecy could change the course of fate itself. Look east to the heart of the rising star when the wind calls to you, and find the origins of your legacy. Two phoenixes born of fire, rising from the ashes of the past. The wheel of fate is turning, and the dragon is poised to strike. But the blood of the deceiver may change the course of destiny. Beware the man with the painted smile who lingers close to your side. Turn the scorned, free the enslaved, fear the bonded men. Many will fall for one to ascend. Suffer the curse, the hunter will pay the price. Do not repeat the mistakes of the past. Keep the broken promise. Mend the rift. All that hides in the shadows is not dark. Blood will out. Seal your fate. Choose your destiny." I gotta say, I kind of hate that they end all their little prophecy-like sayings with "choose your destiny," "claim your throne." That doesn't feel very prophecy-ish. But,
yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It's a long fucking prophecy.
It is.
It's like a ramble, kind of like
Yeah.
Trelawney.
Okay.
I think there's some interesting things in this.
Yeah. And I will say, like, the dragon is poised to strike, I'm assuming is Lionel.
Yeah.
The
I
blood
also think
of
the next one is Lionel.
The blood of the deceiver may change the course of destiny. You think that's Lionel?
Well, who is the deceiver is what you have to ask, right? I would assume that's Lionel. It could be Clara, maybe.
Ooh. That's good.
So, if it's the blood of the deceiver, would that mean Darius or any child that Clara might have with Lionel? If she can have a child with Lionel?
Yeah, so that's I think it could be any of those answers. It could be Lionel, it could be Darius, it could be Clara. It could be Orion, I guess, if it's blood of Clara.
I actually thought it meant their physical blood.
Could be. Very well could be as well. But if it's the blood of the deceiver, it kind of leads me to believe Darius. Sorry.
Yeah, and it does say it may change the course of destiny. Is that a good thing? A bad thing?
Yeah, it could be either.
Yeah.
It says, beware the man with the painted smile who lingers close to your side. Any thoughts?
So that's the one I zeroed in on. Because painted smile, who is that? Who's always smiling?
And whose side is it?
Beware the man.
Yeah. It doesn't say who side the man with the painted smile is lingering to, because it doesn't say who the prophecy is being spoken to.
Right. There's so many options for that one, but what really confuses me is the painted smile part.
This feels like, because I know several of the other pieces like this that have been mysteries, the answer was not something we could have guessed anyways.
Yeah.
So
you think it's one of those cases?
I don't know. It's fun to guess.
My first thought was Washer. He's always smiling.
Oh crap!
What about
that would mean he was that guy.
Well, it says lingers close to your side, and who always shows up when you don't want him there?
Yeah.
I don't want him to be a bad guy either. I kind of want him to be a good guy. I don't know who else it could be other than maybe one of the parents, or perhaps I don't know.
Painted smile. Could it be a girl?
It says the man.
The man. Oh yeah, that's right.
Where the man with the painted smile?
Maybe a man pretending to be a girl.
I mean, if you think about, it's painted smile, so it's somebody pretending to be happy by your side.
What's the
by somebody's
the lady
side
with the necklace that it alters her appearance?
Oh, high spell.
Yeah, beware the man with the painted smile who lingers by your side. So you're saying it's like a happy thing, like someone who's pretending to be happy.
Somebody who's pretending to smile at you. It could be somebody who's pretending to support you. Somebody who is pretending to agree with you.
Right, Justin Masters. Ass plant.
Yes. Always the ass plant.
Okay.
What about the bonded men?
Yeah, I was wondering about that because who do we know that are bonded? And
Darius
men?
and Orion.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb and Seth. They're bonded.
Well, not officially, though.
I mean, friendship bonds. They're also bonded by being heirs. Max could be included. Max, Seth, Caleb, and Darius are all bonded in a certain way. Just maybe not a physical bond.
Turn the scorned and free the enslaved makes me think the nymphs.
Yes.
I think the same for all that hides in the shadows is not dark. Also the nymphs, I would assume.
Which, by the way, is every time I hear it, I'm like, all that glitters is not gold?
Yeah. But then we see many will fall for one to ascend. I think that's also about Lionel.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, if one is going to ascend, that makes you wonder, like, what does that leave for the twins or the heirs?
I genuinely think it's supposed to throw us off course, and I think it's about Lionel.
I mean, he already did ascend, didn't he?
Did he, though?
I added to the notes some of the other things that have been said by, like, the Imperial Star and stars and kind of prophecy-like things that have been said. Okay. One is Vega Princess, half of one whole, seek the palace in the deep where the last of them lie. Son of my last keeper, do what the king could not. And another one
That's about Orion.
It's done, father of the flames. I lie in the palace of flames, where the ground is deep and the dead are old. Where the last of them lie, only there shall you find peace. Keep the broken promise, which is also in this prophecy.
Is keep the broken promise, is that not about Orion and Darcy? I don't know.
I know the answer to that, and I can't say.
I think a lot of this prophecy is about getting the nymphs on their side and exposing what Lionel has done to them as a people.
Is that the broken promise? The promise to free them?
Maybe. I think mending the rift is also about the nymphs. I'm a little concerned about the hunter will pay the price. Little concerned
There's
about
only
that.
one hunter that we know of right now.
Right? I don't know. I'm
Caleb.
worried.
Would Caleb be considered a hunter too?
He could be.
Maybe. I wouldn't have thought of that. Yeah.
Is that for the curse?
I don't know about the curse. I guess, well, Tori's curse.
I mean, Lionel's a curse.
I mean, Cursed Throne is the name of the book, right? Isn't it Cursed Throne?
I think
Go all the
so.
way back up. Fated Throne. The last one was Cursed Fates.
Yeah. One of the things that was said was do what the king could not.
Which is break Lionel's ability, right? To control them.
Could be.
Maybe.
And very much says, it has all these action things that says, like, mend the rift, keep the broken promise, suffer the curse, free the enslaved, turn the scorned.
So is all that stuff the list of what the king could not do? That was the
Yeah,
promise?
maybe.
Potentially.
That's a good point. Interesting. A lot of stuff that we are not going to get answers to immediately, I'm sure.
We might get some answers next section.
I sure hope so. All right.
Sorry, I just saw this. Oh, Big Bro is warning Darius about his attitude.
He is. He was. He was like, hurt, and you die. Definitely
Yeah.
related to Tori.
Yeah, but that's the creepy thing when Darius is jealous of Gabby and Tori.
Oh, yeah.
Of how close they were. I could see being jealous because I mean it's like when you're jealous of the closeness of somebody's friendship. It doesn't necessarily mean sexually,
Yeah.
but
Oh no, I read it as a little bit like Faye Arkansas.
Oh, no.
Farkansas.
I did love that you wrote fake Arkansas or whatever.
Fair Kinsaw.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
in the other mission that Gabriel sent people on, Darcy and Orion are successful in finding the hat just in time to be caught by Clara.
Ugh.
And I don't understand why they thought that just because a few nymphs went to this Christmas party that the whole estate would be free of nymphs. I know that Clara set a trap and that's an alarm that rang and that's why they were caught, but it just didn't make a whole lot of logical sense
Yeah.
to me.
Also, when they're getting caught, why didn't Darcy grab the hat and Orion pick her up and they run? When Orion has that insane speed, why couldn't he just grab her and get the fuck out of there?
I think it's because Clara had control of his shadows and locked him down, but
Ugh.
I could be wrong about that.
That sounds like
Clara-
a correct answer.
Yeah, Clara was right when she said that they were cocky and stupid
Yeah,
to come there.
they were.
It was very
bold.
cocky.
I mean, I asked in their notes, is she wearing the star right now? Because that's just dangerous. She shouldn't be
Yeah.
traveling to this house with the star.
Yeah, and she totally is. She is absolutely wearing it.
God, I hate that. I hate that.
So Clara ends up running off. I know, Christy, you pointed out that this whole scene was very chaotic and hard to follow.
Yeah.
And I have read it multiple times, and I still am not exactly sure what exactly happened. But I think Clara ends up running off after she frees Orion, correct?
I
From the
think so.
shadows? Drusilla is dead. I don't remember how she died. I know she got her
Yeah.
probes cut off.
Yeah, very confusing. But what do they look like? Because I'm imagining the nymph form like the alien face sucker. You know what I mean? I imagine them as the ugliest, nastiest looking creatures. Calling their body magic suckers the probes is not working in their favor. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
just cannot imagine them as anything else but some kind of creepy alien thing.
I keep imagining them as from Guardians of the Galaxy, the tree
Uh-huh.
thing, but dark.
Groot.
Mhm.
The tree thing that looks like Groot?
Yep. Yeah, Groot. Yeah.
That's cuter than what I imagined.
They do have red eyes and horns or something like that, I think.
Also, did
But I
you guys
don't know.
catch? I didn't catch this on the first read. I caught it on the third read. I had to reread these a couple of times. But Drusilla said, "Let me drain her power just like my Alejandro drained her father's." I
Yes.
did not catch that. So we know
So,
that Alejandro had hails.
Yeah, Drusilla confirms that Alejandro was the one that killed the king.
Wow.
So
I missed
he
that.
literally is
It's like just
probably
one
the
sentence.
most powerful nymph out there.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what they do, is they take these really epic, important things and are like, by the way, instead of making them these huge moments. And
I can't believe I missed it the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's frustrating because it feels like they
It's also
want to give you these epic scenes and they start to do it. And then it's like, oh, wait, not right now. And then they back off of it. And all of a sudden it's...
Yeah.
It's also interesting if Alejandro killed the king, who killed the queen? And
Right.
I'm assuming Drusilla was there. Why didn't she kill the queen?
Right. Very confusing.
Who has her power? They talk about Darcy having tried to cure Darius of his shadows many times. I don't understand what was different here. How did she magically free Orion?
Yeah,
What
I asked
was
the same
key
question.
to that?
Yeah.
Why did it finally work? Was it because Orion needed it to work? Because he was stabbing Darcy? And he didn't want to?
Was it a moment of vulnerability that allowed her to do it, or was it because they already have a magical connection? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It was very confusing, quite honestly. And
Yeah.
to top all that off, we learn, Uncle Alejandro was the one that killed the king, but also suddenly Miguel not only warns them that she's coming back, but he has emotion in his face and in life in his expression. And what's changed? Why is he different?
I assume Clara releasing him in her moment of loss of control or something. I don't know.
Possibility.
It's really, that whole scene is chaos.
It is.
Yeah.
And they do manage to get away, and they stardust out of there and end up at Gabriel's house.
Yeah. And
so
I remember being like, what? They went to Gabriel's house? I was so in shock.
So what do you guys think is going to happen next? I mean, clearly they know that Orion is now free. He's been with the Vega princess. What do you think this means for Tori and Darius and their whole plan? I mean, Clara or Stella could go back to Lionel and be like, guess what?
Yeah, I think that Clara is breaking. I think that Clara is either losing control or she's losing faith in what she's part of. And she's not happy with the way that things are going. I have no idea what's going to happen with her. I do think that Stella is pulling a Narcissa and that she helps them in that moment, but that doesn't mean she's switching sides or anything.
Yeah.
Why do you think they needed the hat? Like, what was so important about it?
That's a good fucking question.
I'm thinking that maybe the connection to that hat is going to show them the truth about the nymphs, that they are not the enemy, and that the best way to defeat Lionel is to break that control he has over them, because without them, he really has no claim to the throne.
That was beautiful, Christy, yes. That's a great prediction.
So any predictions for the next section of this book?
I think Darcy might be taken out for a little bit, might be injured for a while, or I don't know, they might heal her really quickly and it might not even matter. And then I do think that Orion stabbing her, that is what happened, right? Like he stabs her because he's being controlled by Clara. I think that might actually bring them together in a weird way because they have to both be like vulnerable and talk to each other after this probably. So I think that might bring them closer again.
Darcy's been outed and Orion has been outed for working against Lionel in a major way.
Shocker.
Do you think Lionel's gonna retaliate?
I mean, will Lionel find out about it is the question.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that's the thing too, is that prediction-wise, I feel like we can make predictions based on common sense, but that's not always where the next step goes. So I guess more predictions based on what we would like to see happen.
Yeah.
I would like to see Tori's connection with Lionel be done for him to find out and for her to have to, I don't know though, with the bond though, the guardian bond, I don't know how that would.
It really, I have no idea where that's going to go, and I'm really concerned about it.
Yeah.
Someone has to die, but, well, maybe Tori's going to die. I don't know.
No, I don't. That's surely not. I mean, if she's going to die, I would expect her to be in maybe the end book.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, I hope not. I don't want her to die. But yeah, I would like some sort of disconnect from Lionel so that they are openly at war, openly against each other, and kind of an all-out fight.
Maybe the hat could be a tool for also sharing that reality with the world. I'm not sure how much the hat will play, but I wonder if the hat can show how Lionel has forcibly controlled so many people that they can then kind of prove what's happened to Tori as well.
Yeah. Though for the nymphs, they're not being controlled by Lionel. They're being controlled by Clara.
Yeah. I mean, Clara is being controlled by Lionel in some ways, though.
She is.
But for how long?
You think she'll turn against him?
I'm wondering.
She really wants to be Mrs. Lionel.
She does, but I think some sort of crazy is going to break. And that would be a lot of fun to see her turn against him.
Yeah, something was going on with her in this last chapter that I don't know how to explain, so we'll have to see what happens. All right, well, I guess we will end it there. So we hope that you've enjoyed the show. Next episode, we'll be discussing Book 6, Fated Throne, chapters 42 through 61.
Please remember to like, subscribe, and follow us on social media. That like and follow are super important for us to continue to bring you new episodes each week. So please, please, please do so. Thank you for listening to the Midnight Readers podcast. We'll see you next week.
Happy reading, listeners. Don't stay up too late.